Picture this. You're floating in space, and somehow, you're falling toward the most beautiful planet in our solar system, Saturn. With its golden rings and massive swirling storms, Saturn looks like a gentle giant. But don't be fooled. If you ever fell into Saturn, your journey wouldn't be soft, magical, or peaceful. It would be one of the most bizarre, terrifying, and mind-bending experiences you could ever imagine. So, what exactly would happen to your body as you fell deeper and deeper into Saturn? Let's take this cosmic plunge together. At first glance, Saturn looks solid, like a planet you could land on. But here's the shocking truth. Saturn doesn't have a solid surface like Earth or Mars. It's a gas giant, made mostly of hydrogen and helium. That means if you tried to land, there'd be nothing to stand on. Instead, you'd sink through endless layers of clouds, falling deeper into its mysterious atmosphere. From the outside, Saturn looks calm and majestic, but inside, it's chaos. As you first enter Saturn's upper atmosphere, you'd encounter thin layers of hydrogen gas. The pressure here isn't too bad, similar to Earth's atmosphere at high altitudes. You could float around for a few moments, maybe even admire the view of Saturn's rings stretching across the horizon. But soon, you'd notice the air isn't breathable. With no oxygen, you'd suffocate within minutes without a spacesuit. Still, that's just the beginning of your nightmare. As you continued to fall, Saturn's atmosphere would become denser and denser. The pressure would increase far beyond anything your body could handle. Imagine being deep in the ocean, where water pressure crushes submarines. Now multiply that thousands of times. That's what Saturn's atmosphere would do to you. Within a few hundred kilometers of descent, your lungs would collapse, your blood vessels would burst, and your body would be squeezed like a soda can under an industrial press. If the crushing pressure didn't kill you instantly, the rising temperature would finish the job. At greater depths, Saturn's atmosphere heats up dramatically. The deeper you fall, the hotter it gets, climbing thousands of degrees. Your body would first freeze in the upper clouds, then cook as you plunged lower. Eventually, you'd be roasted alive, turning into vapor long before reaching the planet's core. But what's eerie about Saturn is that your fall wouldn't have a clear end. There's no surface to hit. You'd just keep sinking through clouds of hydrogen and helium, past layers of ammonia ice, water vapor, and strange liquid hydrogen seas. Some scientists think Saturn has a metallic hydrogen layer, an exotic, electrically conductive ocean where hydrogen atoms are crushed so tightly they behave like metal. If you somehow made it that far, you'd dissolve into this alien sea, never to be seen again. Deep inside Saturn, at its very heart, there may be a dense core made of rock, ice, and metals. But reaching it is impossible. The crushing pressure, millions of times stronger than Earth's atmosphere, would vaporize and tear apart any object, even spacecraft. So if you fell into Saturn, you'd never touch solid ground. You'd be destroyed long before reaching the mysterious core. Now, you might wonder, what if you aimed for Saturn's rings instead? They look solid, like giant pathways circling the planet. But Saturn's rings aren't solid. They're made of billions of icy particles, from tiny grains of dust to massive chunks the size of houses. If you landed on them, you could technically stand for a moment on chunks of ice. But the rings are unstable, constantly moving, colliding, and shifting. One wrong step, and you'd be thrown back toward Saturn, doomed to fall again. Let's imagine for a moment that somehow you could survive the impossible pressure and heat, protected in a near-indestructible suit. As you fell deeper, you'd witness breathtaking alien skies, towering storm clouds, lightning bolts bigger than Earth, and swirling colors in Saturn's atmosphere. But the beauty wouldn't last. Soon, darkness would surround you, crushing silence would replace sound, and gravity would drag you into a place where physics itself behaves in ways we barely understand. Now, here's the exciting part. NASA scientists have actually thought about this scenario. When the Cassini spacecraft ended its mission in 2017, it was deliberately sent to plunge into Saturn. As it fell, Cassini sent back valuable data about Saturn's atmosphere before it was destroyed by the heat and pressure. So, in a way, a machine has already died, falling into Saturn, teaching us just how violent and mysterious this planet really is. You might ask, would falling into Saturn be any different from falling into Jupiter, Uranus, or Neptune? Yes. Saturn is less dense than water. It could float in a giant cosmic bathtub. That means its atmosphere is more spread out than Jupiter's. You'd fall more slowly at first, but the same crushing fate awaits. On Neptune, freezing temperatures dominate. On Jupiter, the storms are far more intense. But Saturn strikes a balance, both mesmerizingly beautiful and lethally destructive. In the end, falling into Saturn isn't just about science, it's about perspective. It shows us that not all worlds are meant for life. Some are meant to remind us of the sheer scale and danger of the universe. Saturn is both a wonder and a warning, a breathtaking giant that hides death beneath its golden clouds. So, what if you fell into Saturn? You wouldn't land, you wouldn't survive, and you wouldn't even leave behind a recognizable body. Instead, you'd be crushed, roasted, and dissolved, becoming part of the gas giant itself. Saturn might look peaceful from afar, but inside, it's one of the deadliest places in the solar system. If you had the chance to take a one-way trip into Saturn, knowing you'd never come back, would you do it just to see what it's like? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to What If Verse for more journeys into the unknown.